setting the mood lighting for a history video. Oh, I better get right to it, though. So, we have two histories. We have music history, and we have history. Okay, so, music history, we're going to start off with the 15th album by David Bowie, Let's Dance, coming out April 14th, 1983. It was his first album with EMI after being with RCA for over a decade. Thus, he had this same enthusiasm for his music again that he had about a decade prior. He wanted to contribute something optimistic and positive for the album. Bowie also assembled a whole new crew to work with him instead of the regular musicians that he had used for the past 4 to 6 albums. For the first time ever, let me clarify that, for the first time ever, David Bowie did not play any instruments on the album. He found it fascinating to be surprised by the interpretation and ideas of the new talent, including the co-producer Nile Rodgers, who he had only met a few months prior, and guitarist Stevie Ray Vaughan, who would not be releasing his debut for another couple of months. Stevie overdubbed his guitar near the end of the sessions, requiring only 1 to 2 takes for each song. Bernard Edwards was called in the last day of basic recording to record bass on the song Without You, and apparently it only took him 13 minutes. The album was recorded in 17 days. As usual, most of Bowie's vocals were recorded within 1 to 2 takes, and it only took him 2 days to record his vocals. And that is Let's Dance, the album from David Bowie, 1983, 15th album. Okay, now let's talk about history. The Civil War. There were so many people in the Civil War, and I bet we can't even name 10. Can we name 10 people from the Civil War? I don't know. Maybe. So, what did we get taught in school? I don't even know. Anyway, that's why we're here. Henry L. Abbot. Who knows that name? I didn't either. No. Sad. Okay, Henry L. Abbot. Let me tell you about this gentleman. He was born August 13th, 1831, making him a Leo in Beverly, Massachusetts. He joined the Army at age 23 in 1984 as Army Engineer and Career Officer, graduating second in his class from West Point. A year later, as second lieutenant, he was assigned to work with Lieutenant Robert Williamson's Pacific Railroad Survey in California and Oregon. This was 2 years before the wood rails were replaced by steel rails. He is one of 158 names in the Senate chamber of the Oregon State Capitol of important people to Oregon's history. At age 32, he was elected a Fellow of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. He was also a member of the National Academy of Sciences, as well as the American Philosophical Society, and received an honorary law degree from Harvard University. He was brevetted or promoted several times, reaching the rank of Brigadier General, which is between colonel and major general. He retired as a colonel, but 9 years later was promoted to brigadier general, retired. He served in the American Civil War, participating in 4 battles in the Union Army, 3 being Class A, which is a commander achieving a vital strategic objective, and 1 being Class B, which is a commander achieving an important strategic objective within context of an ongoing campaign offensive. You with me, okay? You got this? Okay, you understand. You're with me. You got this. The 4 battles that he was in: 1861, First Battle of Bull Run in Virginia, Class A. Confederate Army 1, led by Generals Bernard B. and Thomas Jackson. It was during this battle General B, apparently aggravated with Jackson's lack of urgency, referred to him as a Stonewall, hence inadvertently earning him the nickname Stonewall Jackson. Right after, General B was fatally wounded by a Union artillery shell, dying the next day. 1862, Siege of Yorktown in Virginia, Class B. A Confederate army retreated after a 4-week battle. 1865, Second Battle of Fort Fisher, North Carolina, Class A. Robert E. Lee attempted to break the siege. Attempted. You lost, sir. And 1865, Battle of Fort Stedman, which is the Siege of Petersburg in Virginia, Class A. They overtook a fort. As well as being part of the Peninsula Campaign, the first large-scale offensive in the Eastern Theater Southern States. And then after the Civil War, Henry L. Abbot got busy. Yes, then he got busy. Are you ready? In late 1865, Abbot was assigned to command a battalion in New York, and while there created the Engineer School of Application, and a key figure responsible for designing and supervising the program of research and development that defined the strategy and tactics for the submarine mine defense, which became a major part of the U.S. harbor defensive for the first half of the 1900s. He also designed seacoast mortar weapons, originally referred to as Abbot quads. He served on several boards, including use of iron in permanent defenses, the Board of Engineers for Fortifications, the Gun Foundry Board, the Board on Fortifications and Other Defenses, and the Board of Ordnance and Fortifications. Henry L. Abbot later helped with conducting several scientific studies on the Mississippi River's flow from the Ohio River to the Gulf of Mexico, influencing the evolution of hydrology and the establishment of the United States Army Engineer School, and even after retiring in 1895 at the age of 64, served as consultant for the locks of the Panama Canal. The lock system determines the maximum ship size that elevates the ships 85 feet to the main elevation of the canal, as well as back down again for easier cargo transportation. Henry L. Abbot died at the age of 96. October 1st, 1927, in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and buried in the Mount Auburn Cemetery in Cambridge. So, you learned about David Bowie's 1983 album, Let's Dance, and Brigadier General Henry L. Abbot. Join us next week for Who Knows What.